welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, on this hazy, smoky day, we've got Canada wildfires up north, bringing in all that wildfire smoke down here, making for some pretty, actually, nice photography and sunsets. But today, we're driving this 1969 Alfa Romeo 1750 Spider Veloce, also known as a Duetto Spider. But the more I learn about this car, the more I learn that I don't know enough about Alfa Romeo. In fact, when they came out with the original version of this car, the 1600, to replace the Giulia Spider, they had a contest to name the car, and 100,000 people voted, and they wanted to call it the Duetto. Well, there was some candy company that had a chocolate named Duetto, and Italy said, no, you can't do it. So I still don't fully understand, because everyone has always called these, to me, a Duetto Spider, and now I'm learning it's maybe not called that. You can comment below. Today is more about the driving experience than maybe the nomenclature, but here's the deal. This is a beautiful Pininfarina design. It's got this glorious boat tail, and every shape on these early cars, the Series 1s, just speaks to me in such a way. I want to rip around Tuscany in one of these so badly. So, what's powering this? This is a mechanically fuel-injected twin-cam 4-cylinder that makes about 116 horsepower, and despite it being a 1750, it's actually a 1779, and I love the style and look of these Alfa engines. Hang on, this is really hot, and I'm holding two things, so we're gonna go over this side rather than hood prop it. We'll just hold it up. Sometimes the wind takes these things anyway. Not great. But there you go. 1750 Iniezione Sistema Alfa Romeo Spezia. I don't know if I'm saying any of this correctly, but what this means is the Europeans got carbureted 1750s. North Americans got this mechanical fuel injection system. It's mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, closing with authority, and this one is a good driver, but a little bit of a barn find. This is not going to be the pristine shape of a Duetto Spider that you might see on a concourse lawn or anything. In fact, you know, it's got some cracks and things, but what's cool about it is that it runs. Inside, it's actually pretty well upholstered. It's a nice place to sit. There's not really any space for anybody in the back, but you do have some pretty comfy leather chairs up front. And one of my favorite things about Alfa Romeos is always this sort of goofy stick shift that comes out and back. And the best thing about this is look how close that is to the steering wheel. So it may look a little goofy, but that is such a great idea, and that's something that you see taking place in Porsche world when you get to Carrera GT. Something about this long rear section reminds me so much, and this might be blasphemous, of a 300 SL Roadster. I just can't put my finger on it. There's something about it that just screams Mercedes-Benz to me. I know it's Italian, but that's what I see. But then you come around in this big rounded boat tail as opposed to the later cam tail on the Series 2 cars. It's just great. It kind of pinches off in the back. You've got this nice hook of the exhaust to pop out, not quite centered, and the cute chrome bumperettes to help you out if anybody bumps you so you don't bang up this killer trunk lid. So anyway, I just want to go out and drive because this is about driving. It's not about specs. It's about enjoying your little topless roadster on a beautiful day. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go out for a drive. To get it started, we've got our key in our ignition here. Starts with a little clatter, but runs with authority. I don't know what to trust here. We do get oil pressure when we get on the throttle, so hey, we'll see. Dashboard, somehow in pretty immaculate condition. This is one of those cars where if you like, it's like if you're a home buyer and you're like, ooh, this one's got good bones. Like, I feel like this one's got good bones. In terms of safety, well, there's not much, but we've got a rusty seatbelt that we can clasp into and see what happens here. I like to nudge these back into second a little bit before I take off in first, just because sometimes you'll feel some interference with that first gear. The joy of these cars is how easy they are. Like, this is a good car to teach someone how to drive a manual transmission on. And I say this because even in like the early 50s with like a 1950s Giulietta Sprint Veloce, one of my favorite cars. That car is easier to drive than the Ferraris of the time period. And they feel more robust. So you get a lot of bang for your buck if you're spending, you know, big money on a cool Alfa. But this, I don't know what this will go for. This is probably alarmingly inexpensive. The brakes are functional, but I don't know who flushed them last, so we're not gonna go and take any major risks because who knows, they might just be water. Do I need to mention that it's rear-wheel drive? It's rear-wheel drive. That should kind of go without saying for a car like this, but that's the deal. And yeah, maybe I do feel a little like Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate right now. Plastics. Got some grenades out the back. Something tells me that the carbureted version of this car would be a little snappier on the on throttle, but it's fine. It still gets the revs up. And these cars, oh dude. Cars of this era had ground clearance. You don't need a front nose lift. You can actually just use them. Excuse me. I killed a chipmunk accidentally in my M5 yesterday, and I'm trying not to accumulate any more roadkill. Torquey little motor. It may not be the highest revving thing, but like it climbs with powers with the whole rev range. It doesn't fall off, and even at low revs, it's just ready to boogie. These Alfa engines are fantastic. A friend of mine just bought I think a 72 or 71 Alfa GTV. I'm so jealous. I can't wait to see it and drive it. And anyone who thinks they don't like 4-cylinder engines just hasn't entered the world of Alfa Romeo yet. I love that this has 73,000 miles on it. Like, that tells me that people enjoyed this. This car probably saw a lot of excitement and trips and relationships and probably like death and divorce. And, you know, it's like there's always a lot of history in a sports car like this, because as much as it's silly to think like, oh, you're going to get girls in your sports car, like, you would have taken your girlfriend or your boyfriend out in your sports car, and those relationships came and went, and you'll have memories with those people in these cars. Like, there's a lot of skeletons and ghosts in cars like this. Fifth gear is tall. Oh my goodness. You gotta walk on the other side of the road, by the way. You walk into traffic, you ride a bike with traffic. It shouldn't be this complicated, but for whatever reason, we still live in a world where people don't know how to operate and use the roadways. At low speeds, the steering is a bit heavy, so you got to muscle it around a little bit. You just keep the car moving, and it'll go. Check, check, check. This gearbox is so tight. Honestly, it just blows my mind, because you look at this car and you kind of see the cracks and wrinkles and things, the patina, and you think, oh, it can't possibly drive well. But it's just amazing how solid these maintain themselves. And it's nice and narrow. perfect for Italian roads and old New England roads when people are driving their big trucks. Oh my goodness. It's so cute and like inoffensive too. I don't think anyone's mad, even though this thing is kind of popping and yelling a little bit. I don't think anyone's all that upset. And we'll slow it down through town. We stick out like a sore thumb in our red roadster here. What the hell is that? Every time I think I'm driving the cool thing, someone else comes along in something bizarre that I can't even identify. Not gonna win that fight. Okay, don't keep going. You're backing out of a street. What are you doing? People are nuts. Of course it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee driver. No offense, but actually lots of offense. Why is it that Jeep Grand Cherokee drivers are all like escaped convicts running from the law? It makes no sense. Say this is kind of the low speed classic vibe that I like, because it's a nice tight little car. It doesn't require a whole lot of energy or even finesse to drive it smoothly. So even if you're a bit ham-fisted and you've been frustrated in other classic cars before, that happens a lot, this is just easy. And I love that Alfa's just made ergonomic, simple drivers that pretty much anybody who knows how to operate 3 pedals is going to be able to get in and look reasonably skilled. Big bumps. Look at that. I think that's gonna do it for me. And the Alfa Duetto Spider. What better place to end than with a cheeky little ice cream from Dairy Joy. So thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you're looking for kind of an easy car to live and work on, this is it. These are pretty cheap. They're enjoyable, and you know, you don't have to be a highly skilled classic car driver to operate it smoothly. So thank you to Bond Group for the opportunity. Thank you guys for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.